is Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty. Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
And greetings. Welcome back to Soul Voices. I'm Griffin Gaming RPG, and we're back on Saturday, February the 25th. Feeling a little better than I was last week. Not at 100%, but I'm getting better. Thanks for all the thoughts and well wishes out there from my friends. I really appreciate you guys. I'm trying to hang in here as best I can. But today we're back to talk about some things from Spectrum. And we're going to talk about some stuff from the community this week. I didn't really pull anything from Reddit this week. Everything we got this week was from Spectrum. And it's kind of around the same thing of, I guess the topic today is going to be, that's interesting. The topic for today is cheating in Star Citizen. Is that such a thing? But it's also built around fixes. That's really what the theme of this about is. What needs to be done to fix things, to make things better in the game. So I'm really looking forward to hearing solutions from you guys. It's always easy to identify problems. It's another thing to come up with fixes and solutions. And so, we're always about that, trying to talk about what are the issues, but also what can be done to make the world better. So hopefully, at least the Star Citizen world. So hopefully you guys will be able to pop in today. Enjoy me. I am so happy to see that you guys are here. I want to give out the shout out to the first folks here today, Pops and Fist. I think we're the first ones here. Fast Card, good to see you. Shimpasta, as always. BSL, Black Sky Legion, Kai, always good to see you. Yo, Meg, what's up? It's my girl. Hey, yo. Good to have you guys here. So we are going to jump into it. Now, this is a real easy entry level, how do you fix this thing? And I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say about this because it's something that affects everybody who plays Star Citizen. Okay, so I hope you're ready for this one. Let me get to the right screen here. Our first topic that comes from Spectrum comes from CaultheShot. And this is it. Real basic stuff here, right? I solved the gown problem for you, and evidently CaultheShot has a solution for it here. There it is right there. And what he suggests is that we recycle hospital gowns. I know you guys have played the game. You've seen what happens with gowns, right? Folks wake up in the hospital, and as you're leaving the hospital, there are gown boxes in the elevator, gown boxes at the entrance, gown boxes on the tram, gown boxes at the spaceport, gown boxes everywhere. Now, as you guys know, PS has been introduced into the game, persistent entity streaming, which basically says if you put something in the world, it remains in place. And if we know that CIG is working on tools that will, in their own way analytically study, prioritize items when they're in the verse. Like if it's a water bottle, should the bottle stay there? Maybe it stays there if it still has something in it. Maybe it disappears if it's empty. Maybe it's only there for 3 hours and then it goes away. They're going to come up with ways so that the universe doesn't get overpopulated with trivial things. And then there are other things that have great importance. The wreck of your ship, for example, you don't want that to disappear within 15 minutes. You do want to have the opportunity to say, hey, if I want to go back and retrieve it or have somebody retrieve it or salvage it, that it's there for some length of time. And they're going to prioritize that. But, whenever we get first iterations of things, tier 0, tier 1 of stuff, these gowns are one of those things, right? Something that we leave behind in the world. And the question is, first of all, do you think gowns are necessary? Because in this post, you'll see that there were some people who felt like, just get rid of the gowns. You don't need them. Other people like the gowns because they feel it's an immersion aspect, right? You wake up in the hospital. You're not going to wake up in your flight suit. You're going to wake up in, some clothes in some form. And if it's real life, it's going to be a gown. So my question to you is, what would be a way for CIG to address this issue? I've got an idea. I do have an idea. And someone actually suggested a really cool idea in this thread. And what they suggested was that when you wake up in your bed, that there's a locker that either is in the room or outside the room. And basically it's like you're checking out of the hospital, right? When you go to that locker, you can go to that locker and there's going to be a flight suit and a helmet there, right? And you're basically exchanging the gown for that. And that's one way for, the gowns to obviously be collected, right? So that they don't have to stay persistent in the world. It also allows you to get equipped because you do need to put on, in most cases, a flight suit and a helmet. Now, a lot of times people may say, hey, I don't need a flight suit and helmet because I'm going to reside here. So maybe there's civilian clothes in that locker, but they're trying to come up with a mechanic that isn't too burdensome, to be able to interact, still stay immersive, but at the same time, deal with the technical aspect of these gowns. Because I'll admit, I hate seeing the gown boxes laying all over the place. I really do. That is even immersion breaking for me to see that, because it's just not the way life would be. You don't walk out of a hospital and people have left their hospital gowns laying on the street. So anyway, let's go ahead and start bringing some folks in. Pops in Space, as always, has beat everybody to the punch. So I'm going to bring Pops in first, and we'll have to see what he has to say about this gown situation. Pops, you there?
Yes, I am. Hey, how you doing today?
I'm hanging in there, man. I'm pretty good. Pretty good.
Glad you're doing better.
Yeah, I'm getting there. It ain't 100%, but it's better than it was last week. That's for sure.
Okay.
So
what's some push-ups?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that'll help my throat.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pops, tell me, this gown thing. What are your thoughts about this? Fixing the gown issue.
Yeah, well, first of all, you're right. They probably will put a locker or something like that so you can change your clothes, because this isn't really, what's the purpose of you walking out of the doctor's office, with the gown on?
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, what they probably could do with it, which is probably a quick fix, sell them.
That is something you can do in the game right now. Yeah. I think you only get like 5 credits or something like that for. Yeah, yeah, and that's probably like no incentive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of the things I didn't say, Pops, is if you can read that picture, what they said was store this gown that you're going to use it later. And I think what he was implying was that like when you die again, you have that gown with you and you just put it back on. But
yeah, it's kind of
I don't know. I mean, you want to, the issue is that you're going to wake up at different places when you die too. So the gown won't always be, you know what I mean, where you might wake up. I mean, if it's only one gown, I don't know. It's kind of weird. But let's expand this beyond the gowns, Pops, because like this, it's not just gowns. It's water bottles. It's all types of stuff, right? How do you? I mean, does it break your immersion when you see it? Do you think? Because I thought it was cool when I first came in. I saw some stuff and I'm like, oh, there's a bottle there. That bottle's never there before. Do you think that the players will start using the different things like the garbage cans and things like that, or do you think they'll just unload stuff wherever they're standing and keep rolling?
Well, I don't. You're absolutely right on the first part about the immersion. The gowns. When I first got the gowns, I thought they were really cool, and I still think they're cool. It's part of the immersion, and I don't want them to go away as far as that's concerned.
Okay.
The bottles and things around the universe. Wow. How do you? Damn.
It's tough, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. Is there something CIG could do that would give you an incentive to do something immersive with the item? Like I gave the example earlier about like there's a locker, you know, when you leave the hospital. So maybe the incentive is there's clothes in there, right? Because you're going to want to put on some clothes. And guess what? I don't have to buy them, right? That flight suit is not something I have to pay for because it's there. You know what I mean? Is there some other incentive they think that they could give players to make them keep the world?
Obviously, yeah. I think before you have to walk out, I think there should be a change locker. Okay. Now, what I mean?
What about a security guard? What about a security guard that's standing there that won't even let you leave the hospital?
Well, you know what they really normally do in the hospital? They normally have to wheelchair you out.
Yeah.
So I think in order for you to get in that wheelchair, you gotta, you have to change your clothes.
Change your clothes.
Street clothes.
Okay.
So I think that would be cool.
That would be an incentive. Okay. All right, Pops. I'll buy that for $1. All right, brother. Thank you, man.
All right.
All right. Let's bring in Kai Zin. I think he was up next. Kai, you there?
Hello.
Hey,
How
buddy.
you doing?
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. What's your thoughts? I know we're talking about the gowns, but just any, any stuff that people would plop. Any thoughts you got about that, in the verse?
So let me attack the premise of the question to begin with.
Okay.
Is there a gown problem per se? This game is in development. It's early in development. There may be, we don't know if CIG really wants to get rid of all of these excess gowns. It might be that little weird glitches and you know how you said, oh, we're going to talk as a larger theme sort of about some of the cheating and weird glitches and problems within Star Citizen. I think a lot of the quote unquote problems are just highlighting and pointing out things that they need to solve as development. So CIG might be more than happy to have lots of gowns or this or that out and about as a thing that highlights something that they need to work on and that they need to fix. Like, oh, we need to think of a cleanup process within PES and a ranking system and what goes where and whatever. Having said that, if we were to grant the premise that the gowns in particular were a problem, that's super easy to fix. The medical profession, anything to do with medicine these days, they charge you like IRL medicine. They charge you out the ass for everything. Just make it to where if you walk past the scanners onto the A, you have a place there where you can change in the hospital, and B, if you walk out the scanners past the doors with the gown, they're like, cool, we charged you 30,000 credits for that gown. I guarantee you at that point nobody's leaving the hospital with the gown, because at that point they're like, oh, no. This cost me. If it were a problem that CIG wanted to address, which I don't think it is, shift it to where there's an inordinate cost on the players, and now all of a sudden finding a gown outside of the hospital will be like finding Bigfoot. You'll never see it.
Yeah. I like what you said earlier about the gowns actually being a part of the persistence test, right? Littering, things that just are being left behind in the verse, right? Because I'm sure that is helping CIG kind of deal with this issue later, because it's not just gowns. I've seen people drop empty clips, mags and stuff, bottles, all types of stuff is getting kind of left behind in the verse. And seeing how the game will perform, let alone we haven't got to the point of just now we're just getting to the point of wrecks and stuff being out there and salvaging, right? But this could have been a precursor to all that, right? How does the system handle these thousands of items that are being left around, And there's
three different ways that the game company CI would address how to do that. The first is disincentivize the problem. So if you put a fine for littering, hey man, I just dropped a magazine on the ground. I just drank this bottle of water and then chucked it at the floor instead of the trash can right next to me. And a guy came by and you just suddenly see a notice on your screen, you got a 500 credit fine for littering. Okay, so you disincentivize people from doing that. That'll mean less trash on the ground. Number two, you have AI that is programmed to walk around. Like these guys walk around and on their path, any trash that's on the ground, they pick it up. That's a second thing. And then third, some form of degradation, some form of of a thing where like eventually shit just goes away. I mean, we've been seeing clips of stuff where I don't know if you saw that Ollie video that just came out the other day. I posted it in the Soul Citizens channel, where like literally he goes to spawn his ship, and right there on Hurston, there's multiple Pisces that are spawning inside the building, and they're just bouncing around on the steps, and he's like trying to run around it to get to his elevator. Like, okay, well, that they're gonna need some system to clean that up. Like, you can't have ships inside the station just parked on the steps. So yeah. All right, talk to you later, bud.
Okay, thank you, Kai. Kai always comes in with good stuff. All right, let's bring in I think Fist to Face was next. Fist, you there?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
All right.
Good.
I was going to actually say kind of what Kai was going to say.
Okay.
I mean,
he stole your thunder.
I mean, that's cool. That's his thought.
You guys on the same page.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, hey, you want to leave that, you want to leave the hospital with something, and you throw it on the ground. I was going to say fine them. You know.
Now I think that somebody put that in the thread, that there actually would be fines for littering.
Yeah.
You know, but see, that's such a weird thing though, because you know the economy's not there, right? So we don't know whether $20 is significant or insignificant at this point, you know, in the game.
Exactly.
So the question becomes, what's an amount that's so significant? You know what I mean? That's also not ridiculous for dropping a gown on the ground or dropping a bottle on the ground. I mean, you know,
it's a tough thing right now.
Well, let me ask you this: you've played Mortal Online with me, okay?
Right.
You know, Immortal, like if you steal something within the eyesight of a guard, right?
Okay.
If there's no guard around, that's one thing. But if you get spotted, you're in trouble. What if they did that? Because, you know, like they have security people standing around and stuff, right? What if there's a situation like that where maybe if you do something, like you said, some type of violation that, you know, literally, I'm not saying you're going to get shot for dropping a gown, but
of course.
Maybe there is a heavy penalty that gets dropped on you if it's done within eyesight of somebody. Because just for you to litter and nobody sees it, that also breaks immersion too. You know what I mean?
That would be, you know, that would be kind of cool, because I'd be the one that'd be kind of cruel. I'd be like telling the guard, like, hey, tase him. You know, tase him. Do it again. But no, it's like, so that would be.
Because like in Hurston, you know, in Hurston, the guards walk around. You know, they'll be patrolling. So it's not like you can guarantee that, oh, I know I can dump over here because the guards are never here. You actually got to look around if you decide to dump. Now there also could be security cameras that are also because there are cameras in Hurston. I know there are. So maybe there's even that type of thing that says, you know, if you drop something, you get a notice in your Moby glass saying, you know, you've been fined 500 credits. You know, and there's a picture of you, like when you got like a speed red camera. You know what I mean? I don't know. They come up with some cool stuff.
I think that mechanic, all of those mechanics that we talked, those are great. Only thing is though the NPCs and the server ticks and all of that stuff have to be on point.
Oh yeah.
For that to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That's the only problem with that.
Okay. You know? All right. Cool. All right, there, Fist. Thank you. Well, I can tell you one thing: them server ticks work right when you come into Hurston. If you got a crime stat, them brothers will shoot you on the spot. You ain't gonna make it through town. So they're getting there, like you said. It'll get there.
It'll get there. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, buddy.
Yep. Thank you.
All righty. Let me bring in Jay. We got Jay Voodoo Child here. Jay, you there? I think we got Jay here.
Hey.
There he is. I have not been changing names. I've been sitting here. Somebody decided to text me with all this stuff at the last minute. I'm going to try to put names in while folks are talking. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good,
I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm getting there, brother. I'm getting there. So what's your thoughts? What do you got any ideas on this thing?
Well, first of all, I'd like to kind of follow up on some of the previous discussions.
Okay.
Misdemeanor crime stats for getting caught littering and having, you know, the genetics of yourself left on the gown. So they'll track you down and you'll build up a record of I've littered 10 times. So therefore I get graduated to misdemeanor crime stat 2, and you know, the fines go up and just maybe something silly, just having, I'm the most wanted litterer in the verse.
Okay.
You know,
well, you know what they could
would
do?
you get on Group W? I got caught. I got charged $50 and had to pick up the garbage.
Well, let me ask you this: what if they did the fines like, you know how, like, for example, if you get a parking ticket, if you don't pay it by a certain time, you know, the price doubles, right? What if there's like a cumulative thing? You know what I'm saying? Where maybe at first you get your first fine, it's $25, but if you litter the second time, then it's $50. You know, each time you
I'm
do
all
it,
for kind of money things like that.
yeah, some weird, you know, your ego starts to say, "Nah, I'm not paying $500. Let me stop littering." You know what? I don't know. I don't know. But go ahead. What else you got?
My solution, going back to the original question, is I'm thinking about, you know, what is the respawn about? It's because you died, and because of the death of a spaceman or person or what have you. The theory is your genetic code is stored in a set place that you define, and you get rebuilt there or what have you. So why don't you already have a storage box of just the basic starting gear that you were wearing when you first created your character, and have that within the building, because it's all the same thing. You're creating a replacement character for the one that just died.
Okay. That's interesting. That's interesting. It's different.
That's my thought.
Okay. I'm digging it. All right, Jay.
Thanks.
Thank you, brother. All right. Those are all great ideas, gang. Yeah, I mean, I think Kai mentioned it. I agree with him 100%. You know, this is all still a part of the development process. It's not like stuff goes into the game and it's just happening. They are probably paying attention to analytics and when PES and items and entities being left behind and picked up and what happens to them. And I just can't wait to see how they refine it and how they prioritize these items, so that there's some greater balance in the game. Because like I said, I don't mind seeing like a bottle left around on a counter or something like that. But, you know, sometimes I'm in the world and I'm on a train and there's like a bunch of like mags there from a gun, which is okay because people are, you know, they're doing something while they're traveling, which is cool. But man, maybe I'd like to see some type of other incentive that, you know, if I turn my empty mags in at the gun shop, I get money for them, you know, something like that. You know, I just want to see something immersive that makes me want to do it versus me doing it and always just being penalized. I'd like to see something good come of it. Anyway, all right, that's it for that first one for the day from Spectrum, the gown. Okay, this next one we're going to be talking about from is it Aelyux? I think it's Aelyux. I think that's how you pronounce it. Aelyux brings up this one. Teleporting to a city after logout is immersion breaking. You know, and I never really gave any thought to this. I never thought about if I fly down to Lyria and I'm there at the base and you know, maybe I'm trading some stuff. And then I decide to, well, you know, I'm going to log out here. You know, I'll come back and do something later. You know, you log out and when you wake up back at your base, wherever you were. And I never really thought about that as being immersion breaking, but it is immersion breaking. And to me, this isn't something to necessarily, I don't know if there's any reason to, maybe there is. I don't know if there's a reason that it's not in the game, that if I logged out in Lyria, that I wake up at Lyria, you know. And so let me read you the solution that they came up with. It says there's nothing such as being stranded in this game. If you lose your ship on the moon, you just log out. This comes with a lot of negative things such as immersion break, exploiting and canceling the opportunities for other players such as kidnapping, transport beacons, or refuel beacons. Solution: after pressing the logout button, your avatar would lay down on the ground and start to sleep and remain there until the next login, or for a few hours if tech is the limitation. This is actually a great solution because besides solving the problems I mentioned above, players will be motivated to log out in beds because it's safer. I'm not so sure about the logging out and your body laying there on the ground after you've been gone. I don't know. I know that kind of goes back to some survival games that people play, like Rust and some other stuff, I think, or not Rust, not Ark, Atlas. I don't know, but I don't know if I like that idea. I just like the idea that when you log out, you wake up in the same spot, you know, but that's just me. So I'm going to bring in the folks again. I don't know who came in first. I'm going to bring in Kai Bring him in on this one. Kai, you there?
Hello.
Hey, brother.
So, yes, obviously, every time you log out, you teleport to a city is incredibly immersion breaking. And it is something that I think Star Citizen should absolutely be ashamed to have in a live game. Oh, wait, no, it's in early alpha. They're still working on. Yeah, of course, they're going to fix that. So you were trying to stretch for games that do that. I know we've been playing on the side. We had a little fun playing Conan Exiles, and in Conan Exiles, that was literally the case. When you log out, you lay down in wherever you're at, and you definitely want to log out inside a building, because if you log out outside, and a monster comes along or a sandstorm, it will kill you. You have to go and be someplace where, you know, you don't have to worry about that. So that makes total sense. I feel like there is 0% chance that on launch Star Citizen has it to where you log out someplace and wake up in a city just magically being teleported there.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just didn't realize, for me, it never struck me as being immersion breaking for some reason until I read this. You know what I mean? And I was like,
incredibly.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And like I said, I might be one of those little remote bases. Like, I like going to Calhoun Point, right? And like most of the time when I do want to remain immersion, I go get in my ship and I log out in the bed. I always take a ship that has a bed. That's the way I've always done it. But there have been those times where I honestly was in the building, you know, and I logged out there. And, you know, you wake up back at Port O or wherever you were, and it just never really struck me. And I'm like, yeah, it's too bad they don't make it so that, you know, wherever you log out, that's even if it's in Platinum Bay, you know what I mean? I went in there to get, like you said, to get out of the weather, better than being outside. And I wake up at Platinum Bay. And I agree with you 100%. Later on, yeah, we're going to wake up wherever we're at, you know.
There's 3 levels of persistence. There's persistence of self, there's persistence of objects, and there's persistence of sort of like the game factors, like governments or this, that, and the other. So persistence of self, obviously that's when I log out, I want to log back in at the same place.
Right.
Or have some reason that makes sense within the lore why I didn't. You logged out, like let's say I log out, eventually they will have persistence where you log out and you're in a place. If I log out in a place and somebody comes along and shoots me and kills me, well then it would make sense that I would wake up in a hospital in my clone body, and there would be an explanation of, while you were logged out, you logged out in a bad place, you screwed up and you got dead, and here you are now in the hospital. You lost your stuff. You know, they're working on the persistence of all of these different things. The persistence of items, obviously, you hear no end of talk about that in Star Citizen, and then the persistence of like the entities or whatever. That could be an interesting thing when you think about it, because let's say, Griff, you're a busy man, you're a father, you've got children, you've got grandchildren, you have community responsibilities, you have your job, you have whatever. And let's say you log out from Star Citizen Friday afternoon with every intention of coming back and playing, you know, later in the weekend. And then your daughter's getting married, and your son has soccer practice, and your other daughter has a cello lesson, and work is crazy, and next, you know, this and that and the other, and your church group is doing stuff, and next thing you know, it's 4 months later before you log in. How weird is that when you think about it? How trippy is that when, if you log in, let's say they have a whole persistent universe going on, and when you went to sleep, Pyro station was being held by this gang, and you wake up and it's now 4 months later IRL, and it's being handled by a completely different gang. You're going to feel like Rip Van Winkle waking up as a man out of time, like, what the hell? But in an MMO, there's nothing they can do about that. There's just no way that, like, in a single player game, you can maintain persistence. But if you're going to have real stakes where, because they've said Pyro ownership is going to flip back and forth between different factions. How weird is that? If you're just like, I mean, as a character in game, your lore story is, I went to bed last night, I woke up this morning, but the reality is it's been 4 months. It can't stay the same.
Yeah. good point.
Gets weird.
It is. It's a good point, though. Okay.
Later.
All right, brother. Like you said, it's all in development. We'll see where they go with it all. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Let me bring in, I'm going to bring in Fist to Face this time. I guess I'm not sure who came in first on that one. Fist, you there?
Hey, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, buddy. What you got?
Wow. That was a good point that Kai makes. But I actually wanted to talk about something that Yo-Yo Meg said about Ark.
Okay.
Play Ark, and it's kind of along the same lines as of Kai's point. The way Ark is designed, like if you play on a server, not like a single player,
right?
Play on the server and you log out, and like she said, if you log out next to a velociraptor, which has happened to me before, you will wake up and basically you will be dead, and now you got to go travel to go get your stuff and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's I definitely see that. Yeah, the teleportation, back to the point of the teleportating to a city is, yes, technically it is, breaking immersion, because obviously later on down the line, as we do know, if you're flying, like for me, I'm an Orion person. Maybe once I have the Orion out there in space and I log out of my Orion, I'm going to log back into my Orion. I expect that to be, unless that Orion has been taken over by somebody else, and I wake up inside of there and okay, what's happening here? Oh, new crew? Oh, okay. You know what I mean? And they take me hostage, and so on and so forth. So that's to me, I get what he's saying right now, but unfortunately the state of the game is not there yet.
Yeah, we don't have logout. I mean, how can I say this? Like I out of for immersion's sake, I do deliberately log out in my ships, right?
Right.
But I have had that opportunity. I've had that time where I ran in someplace and I went inside, and I'm inside, and I'm like, let me just go ahead and log out, knowing subconsciously that when I wake up, I'm not going to wake up there. I'm going to wake up back at Bikini Point, right?
Right.
And I don't know if CIG can put something in that, like, how you can sit down in chairs and stuff, in the different locations. Even if it's just sitting down on a chair and then just holding down F, and, it either has get up or log out. Even I would deal with that even. You know what I mean? But it's not there right now. Like in our bed, it's get up or log out. I just wish that there was a way that says when you log out, well, like I said, maybe in time it'll happen, but later on, even later, what happens if I log out without using a logout command, like in a bed? What happens if I log out in Wally's? Like if I log out in Wally's, right? I'm going to wake up in my bed at New Babbage. But what happens if I log out someplace that's not where there's a bed facility, where there's no hab facility, Then where do I wake? Am I going to end up waking up at the last place my spawn point was? I don't know. It's going to break immersion. It's going to break immersion no matter what.
I would assume so, because my thing is.
But does that impact the game now, Fizz? Because now, if something doesn't happen, it's almost like I get to reset myself, right? It's like if I go to do a mission somewhere, and let's say I get there to do it, and it doesn't, whatever it is, doesn't happen. Then all I got to do is log out and wake up back. I don't have to travel back. I don't have to use any fuel. You know what I mean? I don't have to put any time in because I literally teleported myself back.
Okay.
To a safe place.
Matter of fact, let's go back to the game you just talked to me about, Mortal Online 2, right? What happens when you try to log out in an unsafe zone? Do you remember?
You got a timer. Right?
Exactly. You have a timer.
Yeah.
You log back in at the same exact space.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. To your point, I'm saying I would like to see that happen.
Yes.
That when I log out,
and that's how the way I would like to see it, because you're just not going to be, I'm in trouble, somebody's trying to fight me, something, and I'm just going to hit that escape button, Alt F4, and be gone. No, you have a countdown timer in Mortal Online 2. I think it gives you like 2 minutes. Right. 2 minutes to safely
like
log out.
If you're not in a bed or in a facility.
Exactly.
I would love that idea, because like I'm picturing like one of the things he mentions here, and I'm going to go on to the next person. But he talks about what happens when you're stranded. That's an easy out if you get stranded, right? Right now.
Same thing,
right now.
exactly.
And I'm just saying now, it's an easy out. All you got to do is log out, and you ain't stranded no more.
And
if you know you're gonna wake up
agree.
back in that same pot, it's like,
But see,
oh,
that's the thing, real quick, like you get to go on to the next person, but really quickly, that's the thing about, like you said, because you brought it back to me in More Online 2, you have to really think about what the hell you gonna do when you go outside them gates. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because just like me and Pops, we would travel down to the jungle, way on the other side of place, whatever, and you have to know. Not only that, you got to know where the hell you are.
Oh, yeah,
because you
absolutely.
don't have a map.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's how I like it.
Okay. All right. Well, no, that's a great solution. I think the logout timer would be a good way to do it. That would be, you got some vulnerability. If you're not doing it in a bed or a logout location, then you're taking a risk, but at least you will come back
exactly
where you left out. Okay. Thanks, Fist.
Yeah.
All righty. Let me bring in, let me bring in Jay this time, because I brought in Pops first. I'm save Pops for last this time. Jay, you there? I hope he's there. Jay Voodoo Child. There he is.
Sorry, I'm trying to
That's okay.
adjust it.
That's okay. I got you. We had you.
My thought on this is immersion is such a tough topic when dealing with games.
Right.
A further extension of what Kai was bringing up. Your ship disappears from the universe. And so anything that was interacting with it or could interact with it is gone for whatever period of time is offline. And so that is an immersion breaking for everyone else in the active universe. There are so many compromises that are made for trying to draw people in from different genres or what have you. The third person camera shots are absolutely necessary for the game, but there's no immersion aspect to it. It breaks it for me. It's like trying to land looking at a third person camera. That's not real to me. And so, whatever Chris Roberts' vision is for the ultimate space sim ever created will be the ultimate compromise. Yeah. But it's such a tough question.
It is. And I mean, and to your point, Chris is trying to create the game that is accessible to the person who wants to, to like I'm like you. Very rare do I go to a third person view. If I go to third person view, it's only because I'm trying to squeeze a reclaimer and I only got 2 inches on each side of it all the way around. In general, I try to do it without doing that. When you start your ship, there's this side of it that Chris says you can hit R and everything fires up, or you can hit, UIOP. You know what I mean? If you want to be immersive, right? So trying to create the game that allows the accessibility to the person who just wants to get in and, no frills, and then the person who literally has the great sim pit and all the joysticks, you know what I mean? And they want to do all the
they want to do pre-flights on everything.
Exactly. You're right. It is going to be a tough balance, and we'll have to see where those compromises land. 80% of the time I log out in my ship when I'm someplace. The other 20%, I never thought about it being immersive breaking until I read this. I honestly hadn't. It had never struck me as, I'm working up at Bajini Point. I do like the idea of if I fly somewhere and my ship is busted, I really need to call for somebody to get me. You know what I mean? That's the risk I'm taking. I think Fitz was saying this earlier. When we go out in Mortal Online, every time you leave the town, there's a certain level of risk. You're not going to wake back up in the town. When you go to sleep, you're going to wake up in the woods, and you might happen to wake up at night when it was day last time. There's these variables that could happen. And I guess I would like to see that happen in Star Citizen, that maybe if I'm stranded, I just can't assume that I go to sleep, I'm going to wake up at a hab.
I've been a part of a game. It's called O Game, and it was many, many years ago, and it ran 24 hours. You were present. Your stuff was present 24 hours a day, and you could hide it by setting the time. I'm going to go from point A to point B. I'm going to put my thrusters at 25%, and it will take me this long. Okay. But you had to be online when that thing landed, or else all your stuff was vulnerable, and it could be attacked and all taken away from you. And that game ran our lives. and it was completely wrong, and just
I get it.
There's no way Star Citizen could run like that.
Yeah. No, that'd be too much. But I get what they were trying to go with it. I get it. You know, it doesn't allow you to just do that click and play thing and just assume everything's going to go well. You've got to be on point with it if you decide to use that feature. That's pretty cool. Okay, thank you, Jay. All right, good stuff. All right, last but not least, Pops in Space is back. Pops, you there?
Yeah, yes I am.
Yes, sir. What you got? What you got?
Yeah, this logging out. I know that they're going to fix it, and there's going to be a lot more to it than what it is right now. We have to wait and see, but it does bring up a point about your topic, cheating, because when you're you have to think when you're in the middle of a battle. And people are shooting at each other in Star Citizen, boom, 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 and you just hit the log out button and log out in the middle and come back an hour later and you survived and you get to stick the flag in the ground, so it is a big question, and it is to the question, it breaks immersion. If I'm on Horizon and I have to log out and I've got to go all the way back to area 18, or unless I go inside and in the hospital and change my log out and spawn point. But what if I'm by the prison or something or somewhere and I log out there and maybe I'm not in my ship, maybe I'm waiting for somebody to pick me up. So it does break immersion. It does. Yeah. So, and
I mean, we know we're all in agreement that eventually it's going to get there, But I think like at this point in the game, I would like to see it come in because there is that dynamic of rescues that people do. Like I'm in test, right? I'm lucky because most of the time in test Squadron, there's somebody around, somebody in Discord. And if you were to go in their Discord and say, hey, I need a pickup from so-and-so, so-and-so, even if people aren't in the game, if they're just sitting around hanging out, they'll log in. You know what I mean? And come get you. Everybody doesn't have that luxury, right? Because that is a luxury. Some people would have to put out a beacon, and take their chances. But I also think that, you always hear people talking about taking chances in the game with using medical beacons or transport beacons. But I'll be honest with you, a lot of people I know have positive interactions. It's not like everybody's out there trying to knock them in the head when they arrive. A lot of people really do need medical attention, or they really do need a ride. And I think it's kind of dismissive. Don't get me wrong. I think it's always risky. I think you can always take precautions, right? You can always take somebody with you on your ship with you when you're going to pick that person up to cover you. Things like that. They create greater, gameplay opportunities. But I would like to see the beacons and things start to become a part of the normal thing that we do in the game. And of course, as reputation gets kicked in, that'll be another factor with people if they do want to gank you, right, or do something weird, that you can start rating people and saying, hey, this person, don't trust this person. We're not there yet, but I would like to see this level of immersion come into the game now, where if you're someplace, you do have to log out, and when you wake up where you're at, not back transported. That does. Yeah. Right. I don't know why they're sticking with me now, but for some reason now it really does bother me.
Yeah, it's a part of survival. You shouldn't be able to be on a planet and you're stranded, your ship's broken, and nobody's in your org, and you shouldn't be able to just transport, to the backspace and transport to the nearest hospital and save yourself. We kind of touched on this. Me and my son, we were talking about, if you're out mining and you blow up something, it doesn't destroy your ship, but you're stranded.
Yes.
What do you do? And you should definitely have to do more than just log out and go to the nearest outpost. You maybe get a tow truck, and
Oh yeah, I know you in that tow truck, boy. I know you guys are waiting. I know you waiting on your tow truck.
That's right.
All right, Pops. Thank you, man. Good. I appreciate you stopping back in. Thanks for waiting too, by the way. Thank you, sir.
Oh, no problem.
All right. Last but not least, we got Cal Roddy here today. Hey, Cal Roddy, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm good. Decided to chime in. So yeah. So it was a really interesting topic that I saw, and I remember when one of the questions when we were talking about PES on SCL, Paul Reinhardt had said that it was connected to game design, and that took me back, and it kind of made me realize that one of the reasons why he mentioned that was because persistence, location persistence. If you play many, all those MMOs and those things and survival games, they really are driven by the environment, and that's one thing that Star Citizen. Much apologies if anyone mentioned it. But that's one thing that Star Citizen, even though it has really cool environments, that's one of the things I think that Star Citizen is still lacking. Fauna, such as predators that actually decide, okay, you cannot log out here, you cannot Alt F4 here. We have blizzards, we have all those things yet, but for the time being, I think that's one of the things. I think when we start getting more of those things more prevalent in the environment, we would see it would make more sense for game designers to put or turn that serialized variable on for persistent locations, because when that comes on, you can't with a group camp even 2 kilometers or 5 kilometers away from Jumptown, or you can't hug a certain resource around a mine deposit or around a lake if there are certain dangerous elements there, even if you're in a ship. So
I remember a CIG talking about your own environment, how environment will start to have greater impact on even our, not just us physically, but our ships. I think they had talked about at one point even doing a startup on a cold planet. Your ship may not, it may take you a couple minutes for your ship to warm up, it's pretty crazy to think that the immersion would be at that level. I'm sure there'll be some people who will rail against that because they just want to be able to get up and go. Again, trying to find Chris Roberts and CIG's tightrope of the balance between, as they always talk about realism and then pulling it back to what's fun, right? And you've got the demand from the people who want that full immersion. And then you've got the people who, I don't necessarily say they want arcade level, but they just kind of want instant, being able to do what they want to do very quickly. They don't want to go through all the steps, for lack of a better way of putting it. I agree with you 100% though about fauna, and we've talked about this before. I'm so waiting for bad stuff to be out there at nighttime. I really am. I was out with some friends last week, and we were on Hurston, and they had to park like 3,000 meters away, and of course they're running, and it's nighttime. And I was just sitting there thinking to myself, man, imagine if you were doing this and there's something out there. You know what I mean? Exactly. You got to make that 3,000 meter run, and maybe some of your people are getting snatched up with you, while you're running, hoping you're not going to be the next person, that gets snatched up. So I agree. Yeah, I would love to see when we get fauna. Hopefully the boreal stalker won't be too far away, right?
Hopefully not.
We got the little mini crabs in the caves right now, so they're getting us there, right?
Yes, inch by inch.
Yeah. All right, Cal Roddy. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Anytime, man.
All right. Okay, good stuff, gang. Good stuff. All right, let's move on past this one onto Spectrum number 3. I'm sure you guys will have some thoughts on this one. And this is outside of the game, but it's talking about fixes, right? And we're talking about things that can be done. And, CIG has talked about this area of subscriber items, subscriber flair, merchandise. And so I want to get some feedback from you all. Now, some of you all have not been around long enough to know how merchandise in Star Citizen has changed over the years, and flair for that matter. Some of you were around back when certain type of flair would come out and people would have a fit. And then other types of flair would come out and people would be excited. Same thing in the merch store. So I want to talk about subscriber flair, and I want to talk about merchandise. So let's do on the subscriber flair first. Okay. Some of you all, if you're not a subscriber, maybe you don't know this, but subscribers have access to a different store or an extra area in the store, right? We've got, if you're a regular player, you can access certain items, you can get ships and things of that nature. But then there's what we call subscriber items. And the subscriber items could be anything from hanger flair that comes out to unique armors, paints, things of that nature. And so they, a lot of times when something will come out, like we just had Coremore, right? The Coremore armor goes up for sale, and then all of a sudden it's not up for sale anymore, but it may be in the subscriber store still for sale. Okay. Hanger flare items. There are items that we had, such as a bed cot, a workbench, fish tank, the fish that go in the fish tank, lockers, jukeboxes. All those items were also sold in the subscriber store. Now, a lot of times people look at these items as being cosmetic, but we have talked about this before with CIG, that whenever they give us stuff, they do want it to have not only just some value, but also some purpose and diverse. Now, some things are very cool. There's a lamp, for example, that some people got, and the lamp actually works. You can go and turn the lamp on. Does it do anything beyond that? No. Does it open up a signal antenna to another planet? No, it doesn't. It's just a lamp. But then there are other items like a Big Benny's machine that you can get and set up in your, I'm assuming it'll be anywhere you want, like maybe even in your ship. I don't know, but there's a Big Benny's machine. There's the fish tank that we talked about. For those of you who purchased the Phoenix when it first came out, CIG actually has a full-size grand piano that goes inside the Phoenix. By the way, if anybody's got one and they want to sell it, I'm willing to pay top dollar for it. But there are these different items that you can get from the subscriber store. So my question to you is, how do you feel about the subscriber content items? Are there things that you would like to see? Are there things that CIG maybe presented in the past that, you know, like right now you can't get anymore? I can tell you a couple items, like that piano is one of them. There's some other items that CIG once had as subscriber flair that you can't get anymore. And that's okay. If they make it a rare item, I'm cool with that. I'm just kind of curious as to how do you guys feel about these items that come into the subscriber store. And then we'll get to merchandise a little bit later. So let's keep this focused on subscriber items, flair, things of that nature. So let me bring in Kai. I think he was the first man up, and we'll see what he has to say. Kai, you there?
Hello.
There he is. All right, buddy.
All right.
What you thinking?
So you and I have talked extensively, and you know that I have some feelings with regard to the merchandising and the basically monetization of certain aspects of Star Citizen. But I would like to point out with regard to this very specific issue, I do not subscribe to Star Citizen to the $10 or $20 level. And yet I can get every last one of those subscriber giveaway things and or purchase things. You just have to wait a quarter until it's made it from the subscriber only. And once it's in as rare, valuable loot in the game, I want to give them a huge shout out, because I think that move of taking all of the items that are exclusives to this, that, and the other, and making them on a rare loot table findable in game is fantastic.
Cool way to do it, right? Exactly. And I like it too, because it creates a balance. It's a better, I don't want to say ethical way of looking at it, but I do want to say that if you want to contribute because you want to support the game in another way, like for example, maybe I don't buy ships, but I do want to support the project. So me doing subscriber stuff helps pay for that. You know, little token every month, $10 a month. Better than buying ships, right? I don't want to buy any more ships because I want to work for my ships, right? That's the way for me to give. But it also does not leave out the player who, not to be funny, maybe even financially, just can't afford to be dropping $10 a month on virtual items. You know what I mean? $20 a night. But they like playing the game. And like you said, that's something for them to look forward to when they play the game. It gives them incentive to go in and look for those items, because it's like, hey, I don't have to pay for this, but if I go out there and do some looting and go looking around or do these certain missions, I can stumble across, like you said, that rare item, which I think is a very cool thing. Anytime
you take an item that is a situation where it's something you can buy for cash, it's important, I think, very important to have that release valve of it's also obtainable in game.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of sins that can be forgiven so long as it's also obtainable in game. And it is. So
yeah. And also you think about how gamers have kind of felt burned over the years when there were things that you had to spend real money to get. You know what I mean? Like there was no other way to get it other than spending real money, you know. And I mean, in a way it feels okay, because you say, okay, well, it's money that's going toward the game. But then again, I mean, we have to deal with some realities. There are some people who they're limited budget, right? They're just limited budget, or they just, I can't spend that type of money on a game. I've got a family, I got kids, or I've got bills, or I'm trying to finish school, you know. And so they're also kind of left out. So I like the fact that it's accessible to people. Let me ask you one other question before you go, Kai. Are there any items that you would like to see that would be brought into the game? You know, you've seen the regular stuff like armors and paints, but is there anything you would like to see come into the like the store or items that are lootable?
The one thing, and this is sort of still up in the air, but the deeds to get land or whatever, I think it would be neat if there were some places somewhere where you could go and find a deed to get land. But I mean, that's not implemented yet, so it's not even really a thing. But I think that when they implement that in the world, it could be nice, not a lot, but to have a couple in there where people could access that in that manner.
That'd be like a rare find. It'd be kind of cool. Or even if it's a mission or something, you know, maybe, you know, they talk about this successive missions thing that they're talking about they want to do, right? Where one mission leads to the next and you can go as deep into it as you want. You know, I would love to see some rare things come out of that, which give you great incentive to, you know, yeah, I did. Let's say there's 15 chapters to this mission. And if I decide to go all 15, you know, there's something really nice at the end that makes it worth it. And I can't do those 15 missions in no 1 hour session either. You know what I mean? I would love for that to be scaled over time, you know, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Like you said, it's still early. Yeah. Okay, bro. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
All righty. Let me bring in, let's see. I'll bring in Fist to Face this time first. Fist, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah. What you got?
All right. So I'm gonna say this to all you guys out there. When I pay $20 for my subscriber flare, I want my subscriber flare to have a stat on it called luck.
Okay.
I can go out there and get, you know, whatever I want, you know, when I want, because I paid $20 and you who didn't, you're a guilty pleasure. So I don't. You understand me?
Yeah, so you want, okay, I was gonna say you want another incentive added to yours. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I'm bugging out.
But no, I will say this. Are you a subscriber? You are a subscriber?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am.
So a lot of times, you know, when you're tier 2 subscriber or Imperator, you get 2 items, right? Do you normally share that with Pops? Do you do it with yours? Do you put it with all? Do you give them away?
He subscribes on his own. He got his own subscription.
Okay.
Yeah, so he pays $20 on his account too. So he gets his own.
I know a few people who actually have Imperator and they do it and give their other ones away to people. You know, to people who maybe wouldn't get them, or you know, maybe they don't have the money to do it and stuff. You know, there's a lot of flexibility with what people do. I have I have 3 characters. And usually one of my items definitely goes to my secondary character, you know, so that, you know, that's kind of how I do that. But yeah, let me ask you, is there anything that you would like to see come in as a flare item, subscriber item? Like, I'll give you an example. One thing people say that they wish is that paints would cover like all ships, like not just a specific ship. Now, mind you, there's some monetization reasons for why they do that, but they are saying like, if I buy a black, I wish that black would, you know, because maybe I don't own an Avenger, so I can't put that black on the Avenger, or maybe I don't even want an Avenger, right? But I got this black paint sitting in my hanger that only goes on an Avenger. Is there something you would like to see change, or something new that they would implement through the subscriber store?
You know what? You touched on something, and, you know, really quickly that I have to say from, you know, I'm going to take from another game I used to play a while back ago, APB. And, you know, through subscriber, you got access to, like you said, certain colors, you know, and I would like to see that as well, you know, where you can, like, for example, you might be able to get access to a pearlescent color or man, I'm so the other color, not type is right on top of my head, but I can't think. It is right there.
But you talking about something that's much more iridescent, that's something that's unique, a unique type of color paint, something like that. Right, if you subscribe for it.
Right, like if you subscribe for it, you might be able to get something like that. It's cosmetic. It's not like it's going to be, it's cosmetic. And like you said, it's not something that's exclusive, locked to one ship. It's something you can put across all ships, and you know, you can go from there, or even on your armor.
Okay.
You know, or you know what? I'll jump in and say one more thing. Logos.
Yeah, now you know what, that's come up I can't even tell you how many times
It's
come
tough.
up.
It's a tough thing. I know because you gotta vet stuff. You gotta vet,
exactly.
but I'm talking. Wait.
Oh, you mean just like logos maybe in the game logos?
I'm talking about logos that they make.
Okay, I got you. Okay,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm not talking about logos we make. I'm talking about logos that they make.
Yeah, lightning bolts, things like that. Other stuff that you can put on. Okay, trick out your stuff. Okay,
right.
Okay, all right. I'm digging that. Okay. All right, bro. Thank you very much, Fist.
All right, thank you.
All right. By the way, let me give some shout outs to some people. Abyssian, thank you as always. Thank you for that resub for over the last 7 months. Let's see who else dropped in here. Standard Dev, thank you for your sub as well. And Eagle Claw, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you guys on this one. Thank you. We got a couple more folks here. Let's bring in Pops in Space first this time around. Pops, you there?
Yeah, yes I am.
Yes, sir. What do you say about the flair and the paints and the subscriber content? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. No pay to win.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it, you give to the level that you know that you can.
Okay.
Because it can be a negative thing that happens as far as when you give money and you like realize 6 months later, I've given $200 and I have nothing. I give because I want for the project.
Okay.
That's my sole reason. The flares, like Kai said, you'll be able to get them in game, whether or not it's a month or two or whatever. What I would like to see, and this is my example, I would like to see, I think it's the Big Benny's machine.
Yeah.
That you're able to have. I would like to see those things come back.
Okay.
Because one of the things, and I fell victim to this.
Mm-hmm.
I went and bought ships on the gray market.
Okay.
And because I didn't know, I thought the ships were not going to come back anymore. Right. So I'm like, man, I want this ship. And it was actually my Polaris that I bought.
Okay.
I'm like, I want this ship. I gotta have it. I need it. The excitement and everything. And I bought it. And the price I paid for it, I'm like, man, I should have waited. I didn't know. Didn't know that they were coming back. Yeah. So now I've actually paid someone and not CIG. So I would have rather have that money have gone into CIG's pocket instead of the gray market. Right. I mean, I'm not going to speak against the gray market. No. But you didn't know. Like you said, you just didn't know. That's all. Yeah. Okay. And a lot of people didn't know, and I didn't know at the time. I thought whatever ship was gone because I fell into the thing with the Javelin. They said, there's not going to be any more. So I thought that meant all the ships, and I'm like, holy crap! Like I said, I need this ship. So I just think that, spending money can cause a negative towards CIG if you really don't sit down and really realize it, because you can get into that excitement and, later on down the line, you're like, oh my goodness, I could have bought a TV. And I should have,
Okay.
So,
Thank you, man. I could have bought a TV. All right. Last but not least, Jay Voodoo Child. Jay, you there? I keep forgetting to change these names. You all got to remind me, and I'm getting old. Jay, how are you, man?
Doing well.
Good.
Bring up a quick point that I believe originally the subscriber programmer was just to fund their video programming section of what they were. It was
all the community stuff. Yep, exactly.
Right. I'm not sure whether that's still exclusive or any of that.
It's still that. It's Jump Point. It's the community shows that we do.
Right.
And it's also there's one other thing. Fast Cart might remember what it was. I thought there were 3 things in the beginning. But go ahead, Jay.
And whether this subscriber exclusive access or original access goes to that bucket or to the general bucket, I don't know. I anticipate stuff like this being available after launch as a way to sustain funding for further development and what have you. So, I mean, these types of questions are always relevant.
Yeah.
And basically, I would like to see more in-game sources for obtaining this same stuff, just with a higher or different level of difficulty, whether it's a random number generator or something that I know gets criticized in other games, but a heavy rep grind or something where I have the choice of I can go to this place and have a chance of getting it, or I can spend this many hours or this many quests to obtain enough to get access to that. I like having those options because I think there are people that have money but do not have time, and I think there are people that have time that do not have money.
Yeah,
and so just having different options, I think it's important for the community.
That makes sense. Jay, are you also concierge or no?
I'm not, or I'm concierge.
Okay.
I'm not a subscriber,
but you're concierge,
and
though.
I do not play the game. So, like all the holiday stuff, I'm missing out on. I don't have any of that on my account for the past 5 years.
Okay, but you are concierge.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm going to migrate to the other part of this question. That's why I'm asking. Okay, so since I've got you here with me, and if anybody else wants to come back and comment on this, they can. And that's concierge. What some of you also may not know is that there is a concierge store. There is a separate store for buying merchandise for those who are concierge. Now, we do have our regular merch store, and quite often some of the items are identical. There's no difference in them. Sometimes if you're concierge, there may be a discount that they'll run from time to time. It may be 10%, up to 25% discount. I think I've seen 30% even discounts on certain items. And this has come up before, and I'm not just speaking about the concierge store. I'm just speaking about merchandise in general. But I'm bringing this up because I want to ask this question. So, they've been selling merchandise since the early days of this game. And it started out with something as simple as t-shirts, hats, things of that nature. Do you, and I don't know if you've ever bought any merch, Jay, if you've ever thought about buying any merch, if you saw it, so that's kind of cool, but I don't need that right now. It's kind of interesting to see it selling merchandise for a game that's been in development, right? It's not like the game is out, What are your feelings about merchandise? Is there stuff that you would buy that CIG would produce if you haven't bought anything? Is there something that if they said, oh, they sold this, yeah, I'd buy this, I think it's cool and I think it helps support the development? Or are you totally like not into merch at all when it comes to a video game?
So I have a kind of unique history of what have you. My father was a Depression baby. Okay. And so he grew up in those times, and something I learned from him is like, I'm not going to pay money to advertise someone else's product. So Adidas, Nike, all of that stuff. I don't have any of it because I just have that echo of my father's voice. So I've never purchased, any of the concierge merchants on top of that. So I'll leave it to the other guys to talk about that.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair. I get it. No problem. Thanks, man. All right. Anybody else want to come in, talk about merchandise? I'm gonna give you a couple seconds here. If nobody comes in, then I'm gonna go to the final topic of the day. But I am curious to know what you guys think about merch. Back in the day, I know CIG. Well, I can tell you what they're selling now. The items that you see on the screen right now. There's like this fanny pack bag that they have. There is a sling bag. There's a certain shirt. I think some of you all have seen us wear this. I know Fastcard has worn it, and I know Unique has worn it, but this is the concierge shirt. It's an entirely different material. This is made out of. It's a really nice material, and the quality on the item is really good. It's like a weird polyester or something. It almost feels like a silk, but it's not silk. But this is the concierge shirt that you see in that second box there. And you can see it's got the concierge. I don't know if you can see that. It's concierge logo on it. They sell hats. They sell keychains, as you see there. They sell, what's the thing called? A shaker, like for doing mixing your drinks. There's actually a concierge version of a drinking, I don't know, what do you call it, Fast Cart? It's like a thing that you have like 3 or 4 shot glasses, and it's got a bottle. It's got a whole ton of stuff. Anyway, it's like a drinking thing. And mind you, the stuff is not cheap either, by the way. When I say not cheap, I don't mean manufacturing wise. I mean, it's kind of pricey. But I don't know if any of you guys have bought any of those items before. If you bought any t-shirts from CIG, like this shirt I have here. This is the shirt that's sold on the regular store. But are you interested in the merchandise? Years ago, they actually sold, and I don't own this, they actually sold models of the ships. The Constellation was a die-cast model. It was about this big. It was pretty big. It was like a 8-inch model, 9-inch model that was die-cast. It was of the Mark II. They were selling those for like, I think when they first came out, they were like $75. Then they were like $100. But there's been this issue about whether or not CIG should do merchandise. And, you know, in the earlier days, merchandise, when you order, would take a long time. They didn't have they were doing it all from in-house. So there was no warehouse distributor where stuff was going out of. And so sometimes you had to wait a while to get your stuff. Most of the items have been quality items, even though there have been some people who said the items have been kind of so-so on certain items that they've gotten. But I've been pretty happy with I think everything I've gotten from them has been very, very cool as far as merchandise goes. So anyway, I'm not going to belabor the point. If nobody wants to come in and talk about merchandise, that's fine. The only thing I will tell you about is this item here. We've talked about this on the show before. It's a Star Citizen black card. I'm sorry, the reflection is going to make it difficult for you guys to see this, but it's a metal ID card. And the idea of this card, this is a concierge card, I think. Yeah, this is a concierge card. The idea of this was that when you went to a Star Citizen event like the conventions, you would gain access to certain areas, which I mentioned a few weeks ago did work. When I went to CitizenCon, they actually had a bar that was for people who were concierge in Austin. It was an outdoor bar, had your own bartender, it was private, had seating. It was very cool. It was a nice little perk. You had to wait for a whole year to use the perk, and we haven't had a CitizenCon in almost 4 years, so it hasn't paid off in the last 4 years. But anyway, yeah, I know. Ooh, shiny boss lady, I know. But anyway, Pops has just jumped in. I was just about to change. So let me bring Pops in, and then we're going to go ahead and go to our final topic for today. Pops, you there?
Yes.
Yes, sir. What you got?
I need Soul Citizen stuff.
You need Soul Citizen stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I need.
You need some Soul Citizen stuff? All right. We'll have to, maybe we'll raffle some stuff. We haven't raffled some stuff in a while. Hang on a second, Pops. Let me take a look at something. Hold on here. Let me see if I can grab this real quick. Okay. I have to put my ear monitors back in here, so give me a moment. But since Pops was bold enough to come in and request it, all right, Pops, since you were the one who came in and requested it, oh Lord, Fast Card is here too. Okay, let me show you what we've got, Pops. All right. We have, and Pops, you're going to get the pick.
Oh, man.
You get the pick. Actually, we owe you something because you used some space bucks, right?
Yeah,
I think you did.
I did.
Yeah, you used some space bucks.
Yeah,
all right.
I did.
All right, Pops. So since you came in and asked, we're gonna give you some merchandise, okay? So you can pick which one you want, okay? You get, there's a Soul Citizen's water bottle. We haven't talked about this stuff in a while, which is, I don't know, I keep forgetting. But this is one item.
Okay.
Another item is you can get 4 Soul Citizen shot glasses for those days when you feel like you need to have a drink. We've got these as a set of 4.
Okay.
Then there's a Star Citizen, this is like a regular drinking glass. It's just like a regular glass that you can drink out. It's made out of a nice heavy plastic. Okay. And then if you really feel like pouring your beer, there is a Soul Citizen's tumbler that you can get. All right. So, Pops, you can get any 4 of this, or you can get the bottle.
I want the water bottle.
You want the water bottle? Okay.
Water bottle.
All right, there you go. Ask and it shall be given. Seeking ye shall find. All right, so see, Pops was bold enough to say, I don't want none of that Star Citizen crap. Send me some Soul Citizens crap. All right, so Pops, we'll get a water bottle out to you, okay?
Thank you.
All right, buddy. All right. Last but not least, let me bring in my good friend here, Fast Cart. FC.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah, I just want to say I use Facebook too, and you know me for making that joke man option. Okay.
Yeah, well, you know what? I know.
That joke man came out of nowhere. I'm like, what?
Nobody's.
No,
What?
I just want to say that I'm a sucker for merchandise. I got the physical package a long time ago before they banned, not banned, but before they took them off the market, before the 2016.
Well, you know what? Why don't you tell people?
Changed everything.
Tell people what that is, because a lot of people may not have been around back then and have no idea about what those packages included.
Yeah, so like during the Kickstarter up until 2016, I want to say, they offered a physical package where if you buy a ship in a certain package, not only do you get Squadron 42 and Star Citizen, but you get like a CD-ROM with soundtrack on it, or a glossy map. Not all, but they all came in one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the most significant thing is that they advertised that you would get a USB, you can save the constellation or whatever ship package that you got, and the USB would contain the game. Now, I don't know if they said full game back then, but now I don't think it'll be a full game. I'm guessing it'll be a USB key with a
what it'll have is all the jump points. It'll have all the jump points on it. That'll be about it. Because it's not going to be able to put that on there.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking it'll have the launcher on it, so that you can install, you can download the game instead of having 100 gigabytes on the USB key.
This is what I got from Royal Caribbean when I went on the Star Trek cruise. They actually gave you a keychain ship that was a USB. And it put all of your stuff from the trip on this when they gave it to you, photos and things of that nature. But CIG did, like you said, they did offer a USB drive that was supposed to have some stuff on it when we got it, right?
Yeah, the physical package had that and a map and a whole bunch of other stuff.
It had the novella. The novella was on there. The map.
That was with certain packages. Yeah.
Well,
so
the package I had, the Connie.
Certain items.
Well, the Connie had that. The Connie had the novella. Right. It had the maps. It had the jump drive, the CD-ROM, and
who uses CD-ROMs anymore?
Well, right. Well, you know what else it did? You know what else they gave you? They gave you in-game stuff too. There was some flare crap that came with that as well.
Yeah, let me look at my hanger.
Yeah,
because I have it in my hanger.
Kind of forgotten now, but
yeah. So I'm really for a slow tour, Star Wars: The Old Republic. I got the Malgus statue. I'm really a sucker for collection items.
Yeah.
Homeworld, the remake. They gave you a model of the ship. So yeah, I really love that stuff. Let me look at my package real quick. Here it is. So this comes with my physical package. I got only
which ship? Which ship?
This was the Constellation Taurus originally.
Okay.
Constellation Taurus. So I got the deluxe silver box. Oh yeah, they had two boxes. They had a green box. Deluxe green box and the deluxe green silver box, and that would contain all the physical items when they ship it to you. So I got a spaceship-shaped USB drive, which you talked about, the CD of the game soundtrack, a glossy fold-up star map, 5 spaceship blueprints. Oh yeah, blueprints. I forgot about those.
Oh yeah.
3-inch model spaceship that's separate from the USB drive. A hardback making of Star Citizen. Oh, I'm really looking forward to that one. A digital Star Citizen manual and digital and Star Citizen and Squadron 42. And that was with the Taurus.
That was with the Taurus.
Yeah.
See, I'm looking at mine, and mine had, oh God, the manual, digital game soundtrack, Constellation poster, of course, the fish tank with all the fish, Squadron 42's digital download, digital star map,
Is it a
Star
silver box or the
Citizen,
green box?
digital download, digital making of Star Citizen, and then the workbench. That was what was in mind.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the workbench. Yeah, we don't know nothing about that. What's that gonna be?
So anyway, those are the different items, guys. So we just want you guys to know that, you know, the merchandise thing. Like I said, did you buy any of that early merchandise fast cart? Like that Constellation model or any shirts or anything in the early days? Or did you get your stuff later?
I got their shirt. I mean, I came in 2014. I got shirts and stuff like that. And oh, I got the notepad thing with the card deck and stuff like that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I got those.
Okay, cool. All right, buddy. So
yeah, and the black card. And
of course the black card. Yeah, you need to have that. Yep, absolutely. All right. Thanks, buddy. All right. Last but not least, we're going to bring in Fist to Face. I'm going to hit our last topic. Fist, are you there?
Hey, what's happening?
Yeah.
I just dropped down because I heard someone was giving away free stuff.
Nah, listen, you know what? You better go drink one of them cups that Pops got. He's so silly. He ain't got no sense. I should have known that boy was coming here to start some mess. Okay. All right. That's good, Fish. You got me on that one. All right. Last but not least, I told you, and we started out the show, that the title of the show this week was Cheating in Star Citizen. You know, with a question mark. Cheating in Star Citizen. And some of you may know that there was a video that was put out about a week ago by Avenger One. He collaborated with some other people, and he did like a mini documentary style video talking about it's titled Rings. And we will put the link in for you guys so you could take a look at it when you get a second. I would tell you to look at it. Some of you may remember that there was some controversy about this with Avenger One several months back. He accused someone of possibly cheating because he got basically he got attacked in a way that just seemed kind of unusual to him. Later on, the person kind of showed some videos saying, hey, no, I wasn't cheating, I was recording myself, and blah 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 blah. But anyway, watch this documentary because he talks about being approached by someone who, after they saw that, approached him and talked to him about this idea of people may have been cheating in Star Citizen. Now, before we talk about this video, I want to talk about the history, because some of you may remember that when Star Marine first came out, there were people who had come up with hacks while we were playing Star Marine. They had wall hacks and things of that nature. CIG had put out a real strong statement about they would ban people permanently if they decided to find ways to cheat in the game. Now, we're not talking about exploits. I want to make sure we understand the difference in that. You know, some people will say exploits are a way of cheating, but we're talking about something a little bit different. Exploits are bugs in the game or parts in the game, little holes in the game that people are able to take advantage of to get an edge on something. That exploit could be in relation to the economy. It could be in relation to getting in and out of a ship a certain way. That's different. Those are things that happen because the game is in development. When we're talking about cheating, we're talking about where people have actually created ways to, like, literally software, and that's what this documentary talks about, that they've created ways to be able to find cheat software to be able to do things in the game in a way that you wouldn't maybe think about. I'm not going to show any of the video. I'm just going to recommend that you guys get a chance to take a look at it. And like I said, we put the link in for you guys to watch it. But what it does do is raise this, and it's not necessarily raising an alarm, because we know that all games, people are always out there. You know, my uncle, who's a pastor, he used to always say, while good people are sleeping, evil people are scheming, right? They're up thinking about how to get around stuff. All you good people who just want to come play the game and have a good time, that's great. There's another group of people who are literally trying to figure out, how can I figure out how to do this in the game, right? In the most cases, exploit, cheat, win quickly without putting in the labor or the work. PvP people, and even though my skills ain't that great, I can still beat them. You know, there's always people who are out there trying to do that. And it's interesting that, I shouldn't say it's interesting, I do find it interesting that in a game that's in development, somebody has put this much effort into trying to figure out ways to cheat in Star Citizen. When you watch the documentary, what you find out is that the software that is being used is a very sophisticated software. It's not just some small random thing. They put in some time, and they believe that maybe these people have been doing this for quite a while. Now, the red flag that it raised is this. The red flag is that many of us have been playing the game, we're doing something, and all of a sudden we die, right? And Morphologist put out a great video on this. Montoya has put out a great video on this particular documentary as well. And Morphologist says something. He says, there are a lot of times that, you die in a lot of things in the game. Sometimes it's running down the stairs for some people. They die. Some people go in the elevator. Sometimes you hit an air pocket in the game where there's no oxygen, right? And you die. We're not talking about that. We're talking about those times where you die and it just kind of seems like you randomly died. Like you can't really figure out why you died at that moment. And so we're not saying that every case like that is because of a cheat. What we are saying is that they've shown evidence that quite often people have died in the game because someone did use one of these cheats. And so we know there's going to be people always trying to figure out how to cheat, whether the game's in development, whether it's the polished version. And we know CIG is going to have to be on top of it. They're going to have to, like all software development companies, they're going to have to stay on top of it and do all they can to protect the players so that the integrity of the game remains in place. But my feeling to you is that how do you feel about this when you think about it happening in Star Citizen, particularly in a game where you're supposed to be as a player testing it, trying out the game, trying to find the bugs? Is your bug hunting being impacted possibly by a cheater? Are you reporting something that happens thinking that there's something wrong with the game when there's a possibility that it was somebody using this exploit or using this aspect, this software, and maybe you're typing in a report saying that this is what happened and you're shooting video, but the reality is that maybe someone was doing something nefarious on the side. So let's bring in some folks here to get some thoughts on. I'm going to bring in Pops in space. He's here. Pops, you there?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Yeah, Pops, did you get a chance to see this, or had you heard about the documentary at all or anything?
Yeah, I saw Montoya's
okay.
Where he went in depth about the speed and whole thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a terrible thing. That happens. I can understand though in a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
It's yours and you're in a single player campaign. If you want to do that,
mm-hmm.
do that. I've done it when I've gotten stuck
mm-hmm.
In a single player game and couldn't get past something that was too difficult
mm-hmm.
for me. I've done that. But
okay.
I want to bring back a point about another game I play, Ashes of Creation.
Mm-hmm.
And Ashes of Creation is also in the development, just as Star Citizen is.
Mm-hmm.
And they addressed the issue. And what happened was it was a person that went and applied for a position.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't get the position.
Mm.
And so all of a sudden there's this video that appears to see I applied for a job, didn't get a job, but I'm going to show them what I can do. And he's hacking in the game. And, I just think, some of the people that do things like that do it on purpose because they want to ruin the game. But Ashes of Creation, and just like CIG addressed it,
mm-hmm.
and they said, this is the reason why we have alpha right now. So we can detect these things and we know how to head them off before the game goes live. So they're actually, in a sense, helping, even though their purpose was nefarious.
Okay. All right. I'll buy that for $1. Thank you, Pops.
All righty.
All right. Let's bring in Fist to Face. Fist, you there?
Hey. How are you?
Okay.
All right. So I watched the whole video. Matter of fact, I actually watched it last night before I laid down too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to the point of watching it and seeing how this this cheating ring had went basically, this guy, went all out to try to, made the cheat and basically is trying to keep the cheat, secret, but then he's selling the cheat.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
Make money off of it. So it really becomes a big thing. It's not necessarily like, okay, like you said, Pops, I mean, because to me, I've said this before this even came out. I would rather them, learn about all of the glitches, learn about all of the, the exploits, learn about all of the cheats that can come up, so the way that when the game goes live, that these things do not pop up. You know what I'm saying? And can potentially ruin the game, because like I've seen that happen in other MMOs where they just said, we'll worry about the security later when the game goes, live. And the next thing you know, somebody comes in and they have and their whole game is riddled with hackers, bots and bugs, and they can't control them. You know what I'm saying? And the next thing you know, the game dies off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a catch-22. I'm reading Shady Face's concerns, and I feel the same way he does partially, and there's another part of me that feels differently. And he talks about it being maybe too soon for development to dedicate a real resources to this unless things really get out of control. Now, my problem is this.
Okay.
My problem is that there's two things, because and thank you for mentioning it, because I neglected to mention it in my opening. These people who are doing this cheating are selling the software. They're selling it to people. They're making it available to other players. So that's one problem right there.
Right.
But the other problem I have is whether or not their cheating is impacting development. That's the thing I worry about. Because if they are, for example, I think you said you watched the documentary. There's a scene in the documentary where they show this guy go in with a hawk.
Right.
And he attacks a hammerhead, and he one-shots it. He or whatever it is, he blows the thing up.
Right.
Hammerhead doesn't even see him,
Boom, gone.
So the pilot in the hammerhead now thinks that there's something wrong with what he was doing in the ship. Maybe he was in the middle of a battle, or maybe he was getting ready to go into quantum, whatever. And now he writes up a ticket saying my ship blew up. Right, when I was doing such and such. Now the ticket is actually corrupt. That's not really the case. The case is that somebody attacked him and he had no idea. Matter of fact, the ship was so far away, there was no missile lock, there was no nothing. All he knew was the ship blew up. Now my problem then is that now you're impacting development. Correct. So the time that we're wasting now chasing after a ghost that really didn't exist, but I also hate the fact to think that we gotta, at this early stage of the game, have to be, that there are people out there actually, have put in concerted effort to make software to cheat on a game that's in development, not a game that's finished,
And you're right, because the thing, remember that cheat where we all thought it was just a bug, where it was like random folks was just dying, like everybody's ship would explode, you would just drop dead at a station, and we were like, what the heck is that, man? Like, is that like a bug or something? And come to find out, it was a cheat. Okay. Come to find out, it was a cheat. So I get it. Yes, it's an alpha right now. Yes, we're testing it out. But if you're in a game and you can't do anything to test something out, and somebody's frustrating you enough, what you gonna do? You're gonna stop playing the game. So now guess what? You ain't gonna have no more testers. That does hinder, development, like you said. Yeah. Because that's one thing, like I said, people, that is a turnoff, that if the developers are going to allow them to just run rampant with the cheat, then
well, even if there's the problem is we don't know what's rampant in development. See, if the game is working fine, we can identify rampant. But when the game is bug ridden and everything else, how do we determine whether the cheating is happening 3% of the time or 30% of the time? Because most of us by default assume that when something goes wrong, not that somebody's cheating, but that there's just a problem with the game. And that's that becomes the difficulty for me. I'm gonna move on. Let me move on, because I got 4 people waiting in line. All right, but thank you, Fist. I appreciate it. Okay. All right. Let me I do want to, Moriar, I saw your message. Moriar, I don't know if you want to come in or not and explain, but if that's the case, man, I'm sorry to hear that. Moriar said, how do you think I feel knowing that my code is being used in this cheat? Or if you just want to elaborate in the chat, Moriar, I'd appreciate it, because I'd really like to know a little bit more about that. Let me bring in Kai Zen. Kai, you there?
Hello.
Hey, there he is. What's going on,
So, real quick, I'm going to hit this. Just I think there's 2 separate sides to this, and they should be handled separately. On the one side, I strongly feel that any cheater exploiter, hacker, griefer, anything that you want to describe as using in-game issues or mechanics and or cheating, creating stuff, hacking the code, anything at all that you can do to create malicious actions in a game that is in development actually helps the game. It shows them where the weaknesses in their code are, where the weaknesses in their for hacking. Oh, we have an exploit. We have a weakness in our code that allows people to very easily edit something they shouldn't be able to edit. Right. Let's catch this now before the game is released and it's a problem. Oh, we have a exploiter. We have the Smiling Dog crew and Harry Potter out there being dicks and killing people by pad ramping. Let's come up with game loops and mechanics to block from that. Oh, we have these people that are exploiting and getting trillions of credits by, you know, you sell a thing and then you stop real quick at the refining station, or you click 10 times at the refining station using the whatchamacallit method, and now you've refined the same load of quantanium 17 times instead of once. All of these things are just helping the game creator, CIG, because yes, maybe at the time, I went to make a quantum jump, somebody used some malicious code on me, it blew up my ship, I'm going to put in a ticket. You're right, that is a problem, or is creating work that CIG has to do. But if CIG does their job correctly, they look into the matter and they say, why the hell did this guy die on quantum jump? Oh, he died because someone used this code on him. Let's track back who used that code. How does that code work? These are all literally people that are giving you high-level, free beta testing and game testing to find all of your shit that you need to get fixed before the game releases. Right. Having said that, there is a separate aspect where, whether you're a hacker, whether you're an exploiter, whether you're a griefer, I strongly think that CIG should put out a message saying, hey, anybody who is extensively griefing, who is hacking, who is exploiting, who is this, that, and the other, we let you know, hey, this is a known thing, and we have the ability to delete your account. We can nuke your account. And this isn't, we're not talking about World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14, where you got caught cheating, they nuke your account. You have to now spend $30 to buy a new account, and then a month or 3 weeks of time to level up your account to the max level, and now you're good to go and keep exploiting. If they nuke your account and you've got $4,000 worth of ships, that could be extremely painful. Yeah. And I think that they should absolutely make full avail, make full use, make it publicly known that I'm going to say this in a Soul Citizen stream friendly manner. Mess around and find out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I meant. Mess around and find out. Let me delete your $4,000 worth of ships. Have fun. Buy them again. Let's go. Yeah, I hear you. Okay. All right, Kai. Thank you, man. Love you, brother. Be well. You too, brother. All right. Moriar is here. I'm going to bring him in real quick because I really want to hear what he has to share with us. Hey, Moriar, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good, man? Good. Thanks for dropping the info in. Give us the background on that real quick.
All right. So pretty much I play another game called Starbase, and I took an idea of where basically it took the solar map of like a GPS maps where you get your XYZ coordinates and you can fly your ship towards that location. Okay. And well, I'm looking at the logs here in Star Citizen and I'm seeing that you're getting instant updates. So I made a little program that essentially can do the same thing. Okay. And so I told the dev about it and said, hey, this could be a potential cheat, hack, whatever you want to call it, and run it up the chain. Well, if you look in the picture that I sent you, you'll see the conversation that I had and essentially was told, yeah, this might be something we want to add to the game, but not a cheat. And well, about 3 months later, somebody copied my repo
What?
on GitHub.
Oh, wow.
And it was a private repo. At least I thought I had it set up as private.
Uh-huh.
And well, this hack came out.
Wow.
And I have obtained it, and it's got literally my comments in it.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I'm sitting here going like, crap.
Oh,
What do I do?
Wow. That's insane. Oh my God. When did you find this out?
I found this out about 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
But there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
I've already reported it, and I am not the author of the entire cheat, just a small little subsection of it. But essentially, it gives them the power to teleport their ships around, do whatever that they want.
Because I heard that was in the thing you talked about. That was one of the things that they could do was teleporting. Wow. That's insane, man. Wow.
And a quick way to know if somebody is using the cheat on your server is just go ahead and hit the console key. And if you start seeing player teleported, like being spammed down the entire console log, that's somebody using the cheat right then and there.
Wow. 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 Okay. Wow. Thanks for stopping in and sharing that, man. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that that's the direction it went, though. Jeez, oh, Pete. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna finish reading the rest of this. Thank you. I see the thing you sent me. I can't read it all right now, but I read most of it. That's pretty cool. I see who you were talking to too. Okay. All right, buddy. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Okay. All right. Moriar is always a great supporter of ours, and thank you for stopping in, dude. I appreciate you coming in and sharing your thoughts with us on that. Let's see. Let me bring in Jay. Well, I think Fast Cart. I'm bringing Fast Cart back, and then I'll bring in Jay. Then I'll bring in BBG, and then we're gonna wrap it up. FC, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, what you got?
Yeah, you beat me to the comment that one a bit, but I'm going to expand on it. Like you said earlier, I don't understand why people are trying to cheat and get ahead in the game, and that's in alpha, that's in development. I mean, it's like, to me, people who buy alpha UEC, not UEC, on eBay, I don't get that. Because it's going to be erased. The progress is going to be erased. Why do it in a game that you know is going to be reset eventually? And plus, with the case of UEC, you can actually buy UEC on the official website. So that's you not only you're wasting money for buying stuff on eBay, you're taking money from CIG that they could use. Yeah. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't get why people are trying to get ahead in a game that's still in development.
Yeah, Fast Can, I'll just say this between me and you, even though there are a bunch of people listening. I have my theories about the psychology of gamers, right? And you've heard me talk about it before. I think part of it is, well, Jesus, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that gamers do that has departed from what gamers used to be. I'll just put it that way, right? And playing a game and the idea of playing it and earning your way through it meant something. And for a lot of people, that means nothing anymore. It's just about the end result. It's not the journey. It's not the process. It's not growing. It's not evolving. It's just basically teleporting from here to, pardon the expression, right? Teleporting from here to there, right? I can teleport from here to LA, and I can take the train from here to LA. You know what I mean? And, it's taking the train. There's something that comes out of that, because you can save time, but don't get me down to psychology.
Like old heads like you and me remember back in the day, we used to pay $60 for a game, and you get like 80 plus hours out of it. Yeah. Today they want to charge $70 for a game that's only 15 hours long. I'm like, what? Yeah. and people buy it and get the DLC and everything out of that. So the things have changed, and now it's like it's all about how fast you can get through something rather than enjoying the journey. That's the other thing that you and I talk about. So I don't get it. Yeah. Maybe I'm too old.
Yeah, we're getting to be dinosaurs, brother. I guess that's maybe all I can say about that. All right, but thanks for stopping in, Fast Cart. Yeah,
no problem.
Good words. Let me bring in Jay, and then we're going to close out with BBG. Jay, you there? I think he always has to unmute. I think he's there.
Yeah, I'm here.
There he is. All righty. What you got, bro?
So this kind of goes into a larger subject for me. Well, first, let me start off. I agree with Kai. This actually helps development. It exposes holes, and it could possibly help the next iteration of development to say, okay, we had this hole previously. Let's try and create the next new thing without that exposure. And so I think that helps in a way itself,
right,
now that we are in alpha.
Right.
But this issue and lots of issues that have been kind of popping up over the last couple of months boils down to me that, you know, we're talking about a company that makes a product, and I am a customer. They will make whatever product they decide to make, and how good or bad, how that matches what I'm looking for, all determines on how much I'm going to spend my time, my money with that product. And if it's everything that I want it to be, it will, you know, I will direct my energies there.
Right.
Otherwise, if I don't like that product, it's up to me to find something that I do enjoy, that I want to have a good time with. The problem with the pledging system is so many people are already so invested in, is like, well, I gotta get my money's worth out of this game. It better be what I want it to be. And if it kind of goes in the direction it's not, they have problems with that. So there's a whole quagmire in there. But I'm forgetting a point here.
No, that's okay. Take your time.
But you know, I completely lost it. Oh well.
No. I mean, no, I can appreciate. First of all, I'm in agreement too. I do believe that finding this stuff now is a part of the development process, not necessarily has to be separate of it. I also agree with what Fastcart was saying too. I wrestle with it being an old gamer. You know, I remember when early games, like I'm gonna pick a real old game, Doom, right? I remember when it was a big deal to get the what they call the cheat codes, right? Where you could go into God mode, right? I did it for the sake of fun. And I don't ever remember going into God mode playing against another person. I don't. I remember doing it because maybe I'd beaten the game and I just wanted to go through it for fun or for kicks, or maybe there was some tough part. But I don't ever remember doing it deliberately to take advantage of another player. And so it's a foreign thing for me, that concept of doing that in gameplay. Because I like the feeling of knowing that if I beat you because I really worked hard to get to that space to do it, right?
Sure.
And I don't know what has shifted in gaming. You know, sometimes I blame the industry. You know, there's a lot of parts, some of it is societal, but I don't know what has changed, that we get a game like Star Citizen that we really want to be different, but we want to bring the same crap to it. You know what I'm saying? You know, we want this different experience, but we're still wanting to bring the same mess to that space. And I know that's the real world. I'm not going to be so naive to think that it isn't, but it's also heartbreaking because for me, gamers, the whole point of being a gamer was about going into a space or a world that was, you know, a place where we had a common attitude toward. We almost protected it because we wanted that to be our space in our world where we could get away from the cheating and the bad stuff in the real world and go into a world where we could, you know, not have to deal with that stuff. And for us to bring that level of real world into the world that we've been trying to create, it irritates me. And I know I'm being the old man again, you know, the get off my lawn guy right now, but that's how I feel. That's how I feel.
And thank you for your comment. It triggered what I was going to say. That it is my philosophy that if something is possible in a game, there will be someone interested in doing that.
Yes.
Whether it goes along with the spirit of the game or not. Some people like the challenge of challenges.
Yeah.
And breaking systems. I mean, I enjoy metagaming. I enjoy counter metagaming. You know, all I do is not cheating, but it is kind of getting into exploits.
Yeah.
But it's exploiting something someone else crafted and is selling. So, I mean, I'm comfortable with that level of my cheating, if you want to even call it that.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, I'm not.
But you know,
you're not sitting around developing software for the whole intent of, you know, trying to take advantage of people in the game. That's
someone may want to challenge themselves to say, okay, how can I break this thing? It's kind of the same philosophy.
You know, but people breaking the game, like I know people who deliberately go in looking for bugs and exploits. That doesn't bother me. Honestly, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the person whose way of life of playing games is cheating. You know, that's just what they're not going to even try to play the game the right way. They're always going to be trying to figure out how to cheat, you know?
Right. And for me is this, the way I get along in life is I kind of understand that my philosophy is not the philosophy of many other people, and people are going to do what they're going to do. True. And, you know, as long as on the moral issue, they're not hurting people.
Yeah.
Then, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But
okay. All righty.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you, Jay. All right. Last but not least, we're going to bring in our good friend, Big Black Gaming. BBG, how are you, bro? I know he's unmuting. I think he's unmuting. There he is.
Greetings and salutations, Griff.
Hey, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. You've been soldiering through the day, so thank you for letting me come on here towards the end.
No problem.
I just want to say that, you know, I was trying to place this into its most significant context for me.
Okay.
I keep coming back to a particular number, and that number is $551 million. Right?
Okay.
You know, for those that don't know what that means, you know, when you look up the largest crowdfunded projects of all time, you know, there's a couple cryptocurrency things that are higher than that. But Star Citizen is the highest crowdfunded game experience of all time. And we can't forget as a community that, you know, predators are looking at that. They're looking at 4 million registered players.
Yeah.
They're looking at $551 million. And people are saying, you know, this is an endeavor rich with opportunity. You know, and when you combine that sentiment, you know, in today's world with your analysis of where gamers, in terms of their enculturations, have gone, right? Which is in the direction of, I want the fullest, most immediate, comprehensive experience right now, regardless of whether I've earned it or not. That is a recipe for harm to the type of experience that we're looking for. So towards that end, I agree both with Fist and with Kai. I think both things are true at the same time. One is all these things that are happening right now, all these cheats, they must inform the development process. But I think Fist is right in that you need to be tracking covertly and overtly these groups, these efforts. I was pleased. I don't know if it's true or not, but I was pleased when I watched the Avenger 1 video and saw that he was reached out to by someone who claimed to have third-party affiliation with CIG. Because what it intimated to me was CIG's conscious, right? And that there may be some of my annual subscription dollars going in the direction of funding individuals and groups in sort of a counterintelligence effort. right? So not only are developers responding to some of these things, but CIG is preparing itself as a serious studio to be ready for some of the architecture of some of these cheats, some of the practices of a lot of these groups, such that when beta and then minimum viable retail product hits the shelves, I also expect a lot of permabans to hit the shelf too at the same time, right? Because people are going to go from a alpha to a beta to a live version of their cheat model. And if CIG has been paying attention architecture and grouping and practice wise the whole time, they can be ready for a lot of that. You know, and I think it's going to have to be an ongoing endeavor to which some percentage of incoming dollars will have to be dedicated in order for you and I and other people who are looking for a certain integrity of experience for us to be fully invested.
Okay.
So that was all I wanted to say.
No, that was a lot. I didn't think about the economic side of this, and I want to read something that, by the way, let me give some shout outs to people. Instigator, thank you so much for the resub. Axis, also thank you guys. I don't know why my triggers aren't going off on these resubs, but thank you all. My audio rings aren't going off. But I want to go something that Mad Style says, and I didn't know this. Mad Style says cheats are no longer bought. Most cheats are subscription based now as well. In increments of 24-hour cheats, 7-day cheats, and 30-day cheats. Cray. Idiots willing to waste money to cheat. You know, thank you, Mad Style. I didn't know that. I'm naive. Again, I don't mess with that stuff, so I don't know anything about it. But you know, the whole profiting side of this, you know, people making money. Again, I don't want to again sound like the old man in the room. It's just heartbreaking to me. I honestly feel for players who don't understand the dynamic. That their brain is in a different space when it comes to winning, for lack of a better term, right? For winning. One of the things we've always talked about with Star Citizen is what is the end game, and we say there is no end game. It's not like that. You know, the end game is going to be a very personal thing. You know, it's more of an accomplishment thing than an in-game thing. And
right.
I feel that there are people out there who don't get that. I don't want to say they'll never understand the reward of what it means to work towards something, but they're missing out on something. You know, that instant gratification that you mentioned it doesn't satisfy, which is why we continue to go on and find other ways to do it, because we don't have that feeling of accomplishment. You know, we earned accomplishment. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. Earned accomplishment, you know. But I appreciate your assessment on that.
I can tell you that having gone in and out of experiences like, for example, GTA Online, that the thing that drove me away in the most visceral sense, like immediately, the thing that sort of had me say, I'm done with GTA Online, was hacking and cheating.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's Rockstar.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Who we could imagine could put copious resources in that direction.
Yeah.
But it was just there was no chance for a role-playing, authentic GTA Online experience. Not for me, because every time I got on, at some point, there was some cheating hacking mess that just subverted the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it is true that ultimately this thing will be what CIG wants it to be. Yeah. But it is also true that the project is compelling because it calls to us in a certain way. And we all see a certain opportunity. And so my hope is that there is a strategy to counter those that would, one, exploit the opportunity, but two, be that that player exploiting the game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You know, part of the thing, and I'm going to let you go, BBG. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Always appreciate you. You know, one of the things that it's very easy for us to assume, because we don't, you know, we talk about transparency with the development of Star Citizen, that there are some things we just don't know. And I think we'd be in a bad position to assume that CIG is not aware or not working on or not doing anything about cheating. I would think that you know, there's seasoned professionals who've been there. Some of them have worked for decades. They know that cheating takes place, and I'm sure they are working on it. They have a plan. They're doing something, and even though it may not seem obvious to us, so you know, again, we don't know everything that goes on behind the curtain where the wizard is, but I'm pretty sure that this is something that they are tackling. So thank you guys again for you all stopping in and sharing your thoughts on this topic. If you haven't seen Avenger One's video Rings, do check it out. It is enlightening. It's something to give consideration to. And the one thing that I will say about the end of that video is that they say it is important that not only CIG, but that we as players, if we want to see this game become successful, it's important that we also contribute and help when we think that we see things like this happening in the game, that we're not the ones participating in funding this type of stuff, because ultimately the satisfaction will be short-lived, and it would also mean that Star Citizen would be short-lived as well if we allow this type of stuff to take place within the game that I'll say that we are helping build. So, you know, we all have our investment in this, whether it's time or money. So definitely want to encourage you guys to keep your eyes sharp, keep looking out there, keep watching the skies, as they said in the thing. Anyway, okay. Thanks again, guys, for stopping by. Let's talk about what we've got coming up. Today is Podset Saturday. Podset Saturday, as you guys know, when we leave here, we like to have you guys check out some other shows that happen on Saturdays. One of them being Astropub Show, The Captain's Table, which comes on at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's with Paul Shelley, where he brings on guests, and they get to share the latest stuff about Star Citizen. So if you are free and available, we would like to suggest that you check that out today at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to say 4 p.m. That'd be the wrong time. So hopefully you guys will be able to check out Paul's show. After that, we want you guys to take a look at Relay, the OGs of Star Citizen. They've been around a long time. They come on at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and they spend time in the verse as well with Eris and the gang over there. If you guys have time this evening, give you a full day from afternoon till evening to talk Star Citizen with folks. So hopefully you guys can check them out. I'm trying to see. I don't see that Paul is on right now. So I'm going to see who we can set up a raid for. Maybe someone that we have not raided in the past. Let's see who this Catcher Freeman person. I don't know who that is. But before we do the raid, I want to talk about our show for tomorrow. We are doing our show called Making Modularity. And yeah, we hope you guys will be able to join us for this show. We have special guests coming on. Digital Master 137 is coming back to join us. He was just with us a few weeks ago. And we're bringing back a good old friend, or an old good friend. Star Jump Grim will be here tomorrow. And we're going to be talking about modularity. There are a lot of ships in Star Citizen that have this thing coming called modularity. Some of the ships you may know about, and they're going to give you a little bit of the history as well as to some ships that used to be supposedly going to be modular, then they changed it. Then are they still going to be modular? So we're going to cover all that tomorrow. Talk about ideas for what we would like to see in modularity in the ships in Star Citizen. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that tomorrow. So yes, thank you guys once again for everybody who came in today. Fist to Face, Moriar, thank you. Special thank you for you coming in and sharing with us. Thanks for Pops in Space, Kai. Who else am I forgetting? Jay Voodoo. And last but not least, I'm forgetting somebody. Fast Cart. Thank you guys for stopping in and sharing with us. Fast Cart, you gave me Galactica, and I've already punched in Catcher Freeman, so I'm going to go there today instead of Galactica. But thanks for sending it. Anyway, don't forget, check out Paul today, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you stop by the Captain's Table. And hopefully you guys will be able to join us on tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Making Modularity. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace, love, and soul. We'll see you guys real soon. Take care.